My favorite film of all time is Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. It's vibrant, has a fantastic soundtrack, and it's just a hell of a lot of fun to watch. I've seen it at least 20 times. I own the standard Blu-ray, the Steelbook Blu-ray, and the entire book series, some of the books twice. I am Ezekiel Quezada, and I want to talk about Scott Pilgrim's director of photography, Bill Pope. Born in 1952, American cinematographer Bill Pope got his start in the industry by making music videos for free before being picked up by MTV. He was also working as a delivery boy during this time as he needed to make his money somehow. He worked on music videos for artists such as Peter Gabriel and Metallica. He was noticed in the late 80s by a little-known cult horror director who approached him about possibly collaborating on his next feature film. You've likely never heard of him. His name was Sam Raimi. Bill Pope declined the offer because he was afraid that the producers wouldn't agree with the choice, as he had never worked on a feature film before, but Raimi persisted.
And it wasn't until Sam Raimi called me up, he wouldn't take no for an answer. I turned him down several times, just because I didn't want to go to the meeting and be told that I couldn't do it because I hadn't never done a movie before. But Sam had enough power. Again, all your power comes via the director.
In 1990, Sam Raimi's Darkman was released, and Bill Pope went on to work alongside Raimi again on 1992's Army of Darkness.
That's right. Shop smart. Shop S-smart. You got that?
His career hit its stride when he worked with the Wachowskis on their directorial debut, Bound, and their critically acclaimed film, The Matrix, as well as its sequels. He also worked on the best superhero film of all time, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2.
Oh boy, yeah.
On the set of Spider-Man 3, he met English director and screenwriter Edgar Wright, which led to Pope working on Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and now it's come full circle. I have been into painting and photography for a long time, and it's because of this that I have an incredibly deep love and appreciation for the visual aspects of art. It's this appreciation for visuals that has drawn me to Bill Pope's work. His use of the camera and choices in lighting to create harsh shadows gives the cinematography the look and feel of a painting. A scene of two people talking is elevated by his style, making these scenes just as visually engaging as more action-oriented sequences. It's this kind of visual grace that I want to achieve in my own work. So now let's talk about how I would go about doing that. When thinking about what stood out to me as a story that I would want to tell, the answer was pretty obvious. It would be a feature film of epic proportions, chronicling events that happened to one of my friends our freshman year of high school. Events that turned my friend into a legend. Kitachi. Now this man here, this god among men, had an undying love for Burger King freshman year. So much so that one day as he walked into his third period class, he walked right back out and left to Burger King. He did this every day for weeks, using his backpack to hold the door open so that he could get back in once he came back. But one time, he got locked out. Now Kitachi himself told the story in a 20-second video titled Cat's Great Adventure for my best friend's YouTube channel a few short hours after it happened. Here's the video.
Hi, I'm Kitachi. Early today I went on my run to Burger King and I got locked out of school. So I decided to stress eat. Then I went to the park and explored at Chevrolet for a while. You know, the best time for school time. They called the cops on me, and I ran and fell asleep at the park. And school was over. Fuck my life.
Now, a lot of details were omitted from the story to keep it as short yet concise as possible. And other details have surfaced in the years since that bridge gaps in the story and make it all the more interesting. An example of this is that we found out exactly how Kitachi got locked out. His backpack fell in, but this was because someone got to the door before he did. A homeless man, a raccoon, and I even
heard Spider-Man was there.
Another detail Kitachi consciously omitted was that while he was at the park, he felt lonely and had a lengthy conversation with his fidget spinner, which he named Bridget. The 4-year history of retellings and revisions of the story played a big part in why I think it's perfect for being adapted to the big screen. I set out to make it the most comprehensive and definitive account of the events that happened that day. Ideally, it would be a feature film with an estimated running time of about an hour and a half. Structurally, the film would have a lot in common with the works of American filmmaker John Hughes. A coming-of-age story set in high school over the course of a single day, with vibrant characters and ideas. See Weird Science, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, The Breakfast Club, etc. On its own, the story has a lot going for it, but it can be argued that perhaps it's not enough to justify a feature-length production. Because of this, I took some creative liberties with the story and added a subplot, which is also based on true events, although they occurred in separate years. The subplot would revolve around Kitachi's friends within the school, as they try to figure out what happened to him, find his backpack, and then discover cryptic messages written in his notebooks about the world dying. We actually did find these cryptic messages in his notebook, which he didn't recall writing, so that was a cause for a bit of concern. This leads them to make up conspiracy theories about Kitachi somehow ending the world. While this is happening, the school faculty have to deal with the homeless man and raccoon that got in because of Kitachi. This story is very in line with the type of storytelling that Sam Raimi and Edgar Wright usually go for, that being heavily stylized comedy and human drama, and their work is often elevated by the visuals of Bill Pope. He takes a lot of inspiration from comics and anime, such as Frank Miller's Sin City and its use of high contrast jet black areas in the frame to focus the eye, and extreme stylization of reality. Pope doesn't use the same shot twice because a comic book artist wouldn't draw the exact same panel twice. This also improves the pacing, making it faster and more immersive in a subtle way. I learned this from listening to the commentary track for Scott Pilgrim actually. Once I noticed it, I wasn't able to unnotice it. He also likes to use anime style angles, such as close-ups of the eyes and wide angles in moments of intense action. Bill Pope also likes to use a very shallow depth of field when filming his characters. This creates a distinct separation between the background and the main subject, making the characters seem as though they are withdrawn from their reality. This style of cinematography would really complement a story as stupid as this. It can make any mundane task interesting, and any interesting action absolutely enthralling. And that's exactly the kind of effect I want to have on my work going forward. Well, that's all I have to say. If you haven't already, watch Scott Pilgrim, Army of Darkness, Spider-Man 2, as well as any other films Bill Pope has worked on. If you have watched them, I hope this inspires you to revisit them and hopefully have a new experience. Feel free to ask any questions.